Aubrey Manaka, the man accused of killing student Precious Ramabulana, has pleaded guilty to all the charges. His trial in the Limpopo High Court has been postponed for mitigation of sentence. Ramabulana was stabbed to death in her student residence in 2019. The president, you'll recall, at the time visited Ramabulana's home in Venda shortly after she was killed. For more on the story, we speak now to our reporter, Linda Mnisi, who is at the Polokwane court. Linda, a very good morning to you. There must have been sighs of relief, particularly in the gallery, when this man finally pleaded guilty to the charges against him.
Indeed, Paul, you'll remember that this is a 2019 matter, so it's been a long road for the Ramabulana family, who's been calling for justice since day one. Today, they get to hear for the very first time, the last moment, what happened to Precious Ramabulana and what he did. In his plea, he indicates and gives detail as to what could have happened. He says that he first saw Precious Ramabulana in September 2019 in Mukomeni. That's where his aunt resides, and he saw her dancing with her friends outside, and that's where he liked her. But he does mention that he did not have the courage to approach her, and he thought that she would dismiss him. And in November, he indicates that that's when, after drinking at a local tavern where he usually drinks alcohol, he went to Precious's student residence where he forced entry, stabbed her multiple times, and then continued to rape her. He says he also robbed her of her property, 2 cell phones, one which has been confirmed to belong to Precious. He says he's really sorry and would like to apologize to the family and has asked the court for mercy. So the court, of course, finding him guilty of these charges and, accepting his version of events. But we had a brief moment with him just before he went down, and I asked him, how are you feeling? I mean, after pleading guilty to these crimes, and he says he's feeling okay. And I asked him, what do you have to say to the family? And he says, I'd like them to forgive me for everything that I have done. In fact, we would have been able to speak to his attorney based on what he will have to say tomorrow come the mitigation of a sentence, but he was unable, of course, to speak to us and give us a clear indication, Polly, of what he's going to say tomorrow.
Linda, these are very upsetting details that you are telling us here. So all of this playing out in court in full view of some of the people who have come to court that you spoke to this morning that are there to support the family of Precious Ramabulana. Talk to us about his demeanor as he was delivering this information to the court, but also the 4-year-old's case, Linda, that you mentioned, where the family members of that child also there, and what did he have to say about that specific matter?
Well, you'll remember that the state had intended to bring this matter forward. It had lined up about 27 witnesses in this matter, those including that of that case of 2014, that 4-year-old case. But we heard just before he pleaded guilty that, the state will withdraw that case, due to, of course, developments that came to light yesterday. So that case has, of course, been withdrawn, but of course there were a couple of family members here in court today. I'm joined now by Precious Ramabulana's aunt, who will give us an indication of how they're feeling this morning. And thank you so much for your time. We understand that this has been a long time coming. You've waited since the day Precious has been killed for this moment. You finally hear what happened in her final hours. He said, I was a coward. I was scared she would reject me. I forced my way into her room. I raped her. I stabbed her. I robbed her. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling not okay, because the way he was talking so as if nothing has happened. And then as a family, it's hard. It's still hard until today, because he do it intentionally. That's why I think justice must be done to him.
You speak about how he spoke about it as if really nothing happened, and we've heard him ask, for your forgiveness as the family, but he's also asked the court for mercy. Do you accept his apology?
No, I don't. I accept the apology, but no, he must. Even if very 10 times, 20 times, it's okay for him.
So sentence, what do you have to say about that? Nirininga sentence.
Sentence.
What do you feel? Sentence.
All right,
there you have it, Oli. A brief one from the family saying that they want life sentence. They want him to be sentenced to life behind bars. They also comment, and you asked me about his demeanor. They are not quite convinced with his demeanor, saying that, the way that, his demeanor was when all of this was read out in court, it was as if nothing really happened because, of course, you would have heard the number of times when earlier reports suggested that he had been stabbed multiple times. So the horrific scenes, the family saying that at this point they are not convinced that, he showed remorse, as per his demeanor, but also that they haven't forgiven him. They want him to take full accountability, as she stated there in Venda, saying that they want him to take full accountability for what he has done and are pleading with the court, of course, to sentence him to life behind bars.
In Mnisi, thank you very much for that update. Very upsetting indeed for the family. Next course of action now by the courts is mitigation or aggravation of sentence.